Hello, and welcome back to my Lady Boss YouTube channel. So can you freaking believe it? There are only less than 2 months left of 2020, which I think is so crazy. But the reason why I am pointing that out is because it literally has sparked some interest for the topic of this video. Because even though we had to fight through so many of these uphill battles and just literally go through so many different life shifts and just kind of deal with a lot of unknown, that this year I truly honestly believe that it made us realize so many different things, where it made us realize what's important and what really isn't in our lives, because anything can change at any point in time and literally nothing is guaranteed. So the fact is that because of that, a lot of us have learned to be able to kind of cope and just change and do things differently, and we just need to learn how to be our own freaking fortress and just run with the punches. But that's why even though this year was really hard, there were a lot of helpful life lessons that 2020 actually had taught us. And so before we do actually dive deeper into this video, please don't forget to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, definitely do not forget to comment down below because I love to connect and just interact with everybody on my channel. And always remember that I am here to empower you to become the game changer in your own life by building unbreakable self-confidence, achieving a balanced lifestyle, and working on your own personal growth as I post weekly personal development videos every single Thursday. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive super deep into the hard but very helpful life lessons that 2020 has taught us. So for the first life lesson that 2020 has taught us is that our focus needs to change. So I really wanted to make a quick point right here, because all of those people who have really focused on the life that they lost are truly miserable right now. And the people who are actually focused on the life that we live now are building and getting closer to that happiness. And in all honesty, 2020 has taught us to live and really appreciate in the moment, because the past is gone and the future is so unknown still. But I get it that, we've had to shift, we've had to change, we've had to adapt, we've had to even sacrifice so much this year. But I am telling you now that if you kind of leave that whole mindset that you used to have this amazing life, or you used to be able to do all these things, and you used to be able to do this and this and that, you're kind of living in your past life, and times are always continually changing. And the fact, if you can get past that moment, that you can make the last of this 2020 year amazing, and to be able to fuel it and start off the new year in such a way better and great mindset. So definitely that's why I think that 2020 really taught us that having and changing the way that we focus on certain things is really truly important, and that's something to definitely try to work on. The second life lesson that 2020 has taught us is that it forced us to have uncomfortable growth. So if you were not in the right mindset or in the right headspace prior to 2020 happening, you got hit hard this year with life in general, because a lot of times that this year has really actually pushed us to our boundaries. There were a lot of us who had to really focus and learn to be okay being alone. That a lot of us prior to this year, we didn't need to really think about that or consider that, because we were actually able to be around people all the time or have that constant interaction that we don't have as much now. Or it really has even tested a lot of relationships where they either grew closer together, or it came down to it where you had to maybe separate and just kind of fall apart. And even too, when it came to the extent for people with their jobs, maybe even prior to 2020, you thought that, okay, eventually I'll leave my entry-level position or my restaurant job or bar job or whatever it was, but you never decided to do that. And maybe this year you might have gotten let go from that job, and the fact that you may have had to go through a lot of growth, that you had to kind of reconsider that, okay, maybe I needed to do and start to get a higher paying job where you're not as dispensable. So there's so many of these different things and circumstances and situations that all of us really got tested to do, and that really came down to pushing you into this uncomfortable growth stage. But honestly, even though it was uncomfortable, this was the most necessary growth that all of us actually needed to do. And to be genuinely honest, if you weren't ready, this year literally made you ready, because life will always keep continuing and moving forward, and if you don't step up or catch up to the plate, you're gonna get left behind. The third life lesson that 2020 has taught us is how to be adaptive and to create a really creative but different lifestyle. And I completely get it. You know, a lot of people are creatures of habit and routine. But if you are one of those people who took the high road and you decided to make something out of this year, and you decided to not always let everything with 2020 bring you down, and you literally use the last like 9-10 months to your benefit, I have seen so many different things that people have done to really get them through this year. Like, I have seen such creative at-home workouts. I've literally also seen people become like top chefs where they have created so many nice and really pretty, creative and really good looking dishes. Or people have even chosen to be a little bit more like outdoorsy and more active. And I've really seen some of those cute little like charcuterie board beach, you know, setups. Like, those are super cute, creative, and we used to really never do those, to be honest, prior to 2020. And I've seen, you know, people do like amazing Zoom calls with people that they've never like really been in contact with for a long time, or like Zoom wine nights. And we're really just coming down to spending more quality time with your family. And so there's so many different things that I have seen across the board that people have actually used as a benefit for this year to kind of keep them sane and to keep their level of happiness like at an all-time high, even though there's so much other stuff that could have really brought them down. So I am truly proud of those people out there who have stopped complaining and decided to be innovative and creative with the new lifestyle that we currently have right now. And the fact is that, like, if you have been able to do this, you can definitely tell that you're on that track to be one of the happier people who have made it through this entire year. The fourth life lesson that 2020 has taught us is how important our support systems are. So we pretty much have a clearer view on who and what really matters and who and what really never did. And that's one thing where, honestly, I think this one is kind of like more of like a personal thing for me, because I have truly reflected a lot this year on all the personal support systems that I truly do have that have surrounded me. And I really had to evaluate a lot of them, where there are those people who have been there as my ride or dies, and they have been there to support me from beginning to end, no matter what situation. And then there's other times too where I've had to reflect and look back at some of the friendships that I've made, and it's really sad to say that I've had to lose some of my friendships this year. And to be honest, you know, we're already not really interacting with that many people, and we're really not having and creating new relationships with people right now. So the fact is that, like, even though we're not creating new ones, and I'm still willing to get rid and kind of like push away or just kind of distance myself a little bit from the old ones or the previous friendships that I've had, that says a lot right there. And it has been tough, and I don't know if you out there or anybody else has been going through some of these tough times, but I personally am, to be genuinely true and real and honest, but I'm okay at the end of the day, you know, because I'm really truly focusing on that close support system that I do currently have. Even though it's smaller, that's all I freaking need. Because honestly, if they're gonna be the ones to be there for you, those are the people who you need to support. You don't need to waste and just put your time into people who don't actually value you anymore. And so that's one thing where this year has definitely taught me a lot about support systems. And the one thing that I really truly noticed this from was my YouTube channel, where a lot of people had support me with my YouTube channel that I don't even know. Like, everybody who comments, likes, continually watches my videos all the time. Like, there's a lot of you out there that I don't know, and there are a handful of you that I have gotten to know, which is amazing. But it's crazy to see that strangers will support me more than like the people who actually know me as like a friend. Whether or not that's relatable or not, I'm not gonna like dive super deep into it, but that's just something a lot that I've been, you know, kind of evaluating and just kind of looking at from just a whole entire broad spectrum of this entire year. But here's the one thing that I do truly really know is that I am not going to depend on anybody else to really kind of uplift my mental and emotional well-being. Like, that is all on me. And I know that from the bottom of my heart, and all I will now focus on be a better friend to the people who have supported me, and that I am working on becoming even a better fiance, and that's really truly all that really matters at the end of the day. Alright you guys, so I'm going to go ahead and close out this video. I really hope that this really gave you a lot of insight on this past year, and the fact is, like, hopefully this either, you know, kind of changed your mindset about things, or even you were starting to do some of these things because you realized it yourself, you know, that things kind of needed to change because we couldn't just dwell on always being unhappy and all the like bad things that were happening. We kind of had to learn how to change our focus. So I'm hoping that these aren't certain new things for you, but if they were, I really do hope that they did kind of like open your eyes and kind of shed some light, because in all honesty, I'm going to tell you this right now, even though there were so many different things that we had to sacrifice or shift or do, I, on a personal level, am very, very proud of myself that I got through this year, and it really showed a lot of my true personal strength. Because, you know, if I wasn't in a good mental space, and if I wasn't in a good kind of like personal growth or my own kind of like healthy relationship that I've built for myself already, even prior to this happening, like, it was just one of those things. I just felt like, yes, it was tough, but I didn't feel as impacted as maybe some other people have. And I'm really sorry for those of you, you know, who got really hit hard this year. And I get it, like, every year things are gonna come up and things are not always gonna be easy. Maybe like 2018 was hard for somebody else and 2020 it wasn't, you know? So like, it's just one of those things. Everybody's lives go in different like waves. But other than that, I really do appreciate you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next week's video. Thanks so much. Bye guys.